We're a few days, well, more than a few days into December, and it's time to tell you guys how much I made as a self-published indie author with 2 books out. My name is Lindsay Elizabeth, and I am a self-published indie author. I have 2 books out, obviously. They are part of a trilogy that's kind of an interconnected series, and they'll be merging together in the 3rd book that comes out sometime next year. But I know a lot of you are just here for the numbers, so if you want to hear about the books, you can stick around till later, but here are the numbers. And as a reminder, I just kind of do this every single month since I've been publishing this January, so like not even a full year. But I do this every month just to kind of give you an idea of how much you could expect to make as an indie author if you do a lot of marketing here on TikTok, or just kind of a different range, because sometimes you see people make absolutely nothing and sometimes you see people popping off and making tens of thousands of dollars every single month. So this is just my information thrown into the hat to bring a little bit more transparency into the publishing world. So 2 books out, and last month I had 6 full orders, which were for print or ebook, but my books are also enrolled in Kindle Unlimited. So I also get paid for pages read. So let's go through that real quick. Last month, I had a total of 19,057 pages read, which is this big number, and kind of based on like an average Kindle pages read, that would equal roughly this many books. Although both of my books are like a little bit different sizes, so I kind of had to pick a middle number and then obviously like average it out and average it out again. So it's not totally that number of books sold, and honestly, Kindle and Amazon, they don't tell you whether it's a read-through rate or if 19,000 people read 1 page. So honestly, I have no idea how many readers that would be, but that's roughly how many books it would have been. Given this many pages read and orders and everything, I ended up totaling a revenue or royalty rate of $104.34, which is pretty good. That's kind of like middle of the road for me. It's not my lowest month. It's not nearly my highest month. I'm very excited that people are still finding my books. Last month, I didn't do nearly as much publishing. My dogs are just switching themselves out. There's 2 of them. One's lower. Isn't that a face you have to love? I love her. So last month, if you've been following my journey, the 2 books that I have out right now, this is me rambling now about my books. So Kingdom of Ash and Shadow is the first book in my Kingdoms of Kairos trilogy, which is interconnected. So these 2 books are connected, but you don't have to read them in order. You don't have to read both of them. I would love it if you do. But if you have been following my journey, I have been kind of working on a 2nd edition of Kingdom of Ash and Shadow. As I'm working on the 3rd book that connects these 2 books, I just kind of realized some like glaring issues, some plot holes, some character development that really needed to happen. So Kingdom of Ash and Shadow is getting a revamp, and it is currently going to be thicker than Kingdom of Shadow and Ice. So if you didn't know and you wanted a 1st edition while they're still available, because once they're gone, they're gone. When I am done updating this book, it is gone. This version is gone forever. So if you didn't know, Kingdom of Ash and Shadow follows Kel and Rosalie as they're forcibly married to stop a war between their 2 kingdoms. Kel is a very like morally gray, reputationed firebending king, and Rosalie is a sheltered, naive waterbending princess in a kingdom where elemental magic is forbidden. It is spicy, there's a dragon, there's other magic in it that you did not see coming. And then in Kingdom of Shadow and Ice, it's kind of a prequel, but like the prologues lead into the 3rd book. So this story is about Anik. She's a fae queen, and she's actually the male main character Kel's mom. So this is his mom. And I like to market this as like, this is his mommy trauma. But it's really just, it's her trauma. She's a high fae queen, and she was queen when settlers started coming into Kairos, into the country, and had to make some tough calls, and there ended up being a genocide of the fae. So she is kind of like on the run from the humans, ends up building kind of her own kingdom that's a refuge for fae and like part fae people who are outcasts essentially. And then through a series of unfortunate events, she has to seek refuge, and she finds refuge in Ale, which is where Kel is from. So yeah. So ultimately she has to choose between revenge that she feels like would heal her past, or love that would help her move on from that trauma. And then the 3rd book will be called Kingdom of Ice and Nightmares, and it follows a new narrator and all of the narrators you've met before. So it's going to be really exciting.